Om Prapannaparijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gītamritaduhe Namaha. Pranams everyone, we are in chapter 5, Sloka number 23. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Shaknoti haiva yasodum praksharira vimokshanat kāma-krodhodbhavam vegam sayuktaḥ sukhī naraḥ. Shaknoti haiva yasodum praksharira vimokshanat kāma-krodhodbhavam vegam sayuktaḥ sukhī naraḥ. So Bhagavan in this section from Sloka number 21 onwards, 21, 22, 23, is talking about Vairāgyam. In Sloka number 21, he said, until we are free from engaging ourselves with external objects for the sake of happiness, we will not be able to experience antar-sukham. So as long as we are addicted or attached to external objects for happiness, we will never be able to get atma-sukham. Then in Sloka number 22, Bhagavan said, Yehi samsparshaja bhogadha dukkha yonaha yevate. Bhagavan talked about the doshas of all the bahya sukhams. So everything that the external sensory objects can give us in terms of sense pleasures, they have doshas. And we saw a few doshas last class. One is kshanikatvam, it is momentary, it lasts only for a few moments. Then it always comes with sorrow. It is always mixed with sorrow. And the reasons for that is, we saw that the higher the indulgence, the greater the sorrow for us when we actually lose it. The more attached we are, the more problems or sorrow that we are going to get. And all these viṣaya sukhams, all these external sukhams, they enslave us. Initially it will be for the sake of momentary happiness, but then later on we will come to know that without it we will feel miserable, and therefore it enslaves us. Then the third thing is, these viṣaya sukhams create fear. The fear of losing it. The fear of losing it will actually create disturbance in our mind. Then we also saw that the more we actually enjoy or revel in external objects, the sense organs that are being used to experience those sense pleasures, they will lose their vitality. Jarayanti tejaha, we saw that. And then finally we saw that viṣaya sukham never fulfills us. We never feel complete. We always feel this lacking, that I could have had more. It will never feel enough. So these are the doshas that Bhagavan called out, or we sort of did a vichara on that. And then Bhagavan said, Nateshu ramate buddhaha. The wise person do not revel in them. The wise person do not seek sensory pleasures for happiness. That was what was given in the last sloka. Now in this sloka, Bhagavan says that kāma and krodha, desire and anger, are mahadosha. They are great defects, they are great obstacles, especially for everyone. And of course for a person seeking liberation, for a person walking this path of liberation, for a mumukshu, it can be a huge obstacle. And even in general life, kāma-krodha will always drag us down. And Bhagavan says these are not ordinary problems, they are serious hurdles. So what must we do? Bhagavan says we must strive with great effort. It is not easy to get over kama and krodha. It requires a lot of effort, but we must strive and we must free ourselves from them. And here kama krodhodbhavam vegam, the vegam of kama, it refers to the inner rush or pull. There is an inner rush or pull that arises whenever an object of our attachment, an object of our pleasure, or an object of our joy, a desirable object, whenever we see that, whenever we hear that, or whenever we even think of it, there is an immediate, we can feel in our mind an inner rush, a pull. That is called as kāma krodhodbhavam vegam, kama vegam. And that rush, that excitement, we can say, that something we like to, we sometimes enjoy it. Bhagavan says that excitement or that impulsiveness, that is what actually pushes us towards the object of desire. The same thing is opposite is also there. Sometimes when we think of somebody we don't like, we dislike, some things we see them, we hear of them, we think of them, and something that we dislike, apriyamāṇa vastu or apriyamāṇa person. Then also there is an internal pull, inner pull or a rush that happens in our mind. There is an opposite. There is a question of aversion, hatred, strong dislike, anger. Bhagavan says that will also drag us down. And that full parinama, that when actually that inner hatred, the inner dislike, the inner aversion that comes out, it actually morphs into anger, krodha. So dveṣa-paripākaḥ krodhaḥ. Anger is nothing but mature form of hatred or dislike. And Bhagavan says this inner force, whether it is be of attraction or repulsion, the kāma-vegaḥ or krodha-vegaḥ, Bhagavan says it must be subdued. Okay, when should it be subdued? Bhagavan says, ihaiva, here and now, before the body falls, before the indriyas lose their vigor. See, over a period of time, as we grow old, the sense organs will lose its vitality, will lose its vigor, will lose its shine. At that point of time, it will be very difficult to actually control the anger or desire. It will be even double sorrow will be there, because we will have internally a desire to see the person, but the eyes will not be able to see it properly also. So there will be a double sorrow and we will not be able to control. So Bhagavan says, master these urges even when the senses are still strong. Because once it becomes weak, you will not be able to practice this, you will not be able to do that once the sense organs become weak. Therefore, mastery over kama krodha, Bhagavan says, that is the true strength. True strength is a person who has been able to master addiction and hatred. One who has conquered them is the one who is truly at peace. How can somebody be at peace? Sukhau parusha. Bhagavan is going to say, sa yuktaḥ sa sukhī. Only that person is going to be a happy person. In fact, Bhagavan is going to even go further and say, such a person alone deserves to be called as a human being in the true sense. So if we go to the Sloka, we can see Shaknoti haiva yas sodum. Shaknoti. Shaknoti means capable of, being able to. Shaknoti. Iha ihaiva. Iha eva. Iha eva means here itself. As in, even as we are alive, in this life itself, in this janma itself. Yaha. Who. Sodum. Sodum means tolerate. Who can endure. Who can manage. Or we can say master it. Sodum is tolerate. Who tolerate. So, yaha saknoti, yaha sakshaknoti, sodum iha eva. Who is able to manage or endure here itself. What has to be managed? What has to be tolerated? What has to be endured? Prak sharira vimokshanat. But before that, when should it be? When should a person be able to endure this? Bhagavan says prak sharira vimokshanat. Prak means before. Before what? Sharira vimokshanat. Before the body dies. Shariram vimoksham. So before the body dies or before the fall of the body, one has to manage or one has to endure. What has to be managed, what has to be endured, that is given in the second line. Second line, kāma-krodho-bhavam vegam. Vegam means the impulse, that inner rush, the pull inside our mind. Vegam. Udbhavam. Udbhavam means born of. The impulse is born out of what? Kāma-krodha. Desire and anger. So the impulse or the rush in our mind born out of desire and anger has to be managed. When? Before the body dies. Before the fall of the body. So one who is able to manage this or endure this impulse, or he is able to control the rush that is born out of desire and anger, here itself, before the fall of the body, who is he? How will he be? Bhagavan says, sa yuktaḥ. Saha yuktaḥ. That person is disciplined. That person is established in knowledge. Sa sukhī. He is happy. Not only that, Bhagavan says, sa naraḥ. He is a human. He only is a human. Only a human being will be able to control the urges of desire and anger. If a person is not able to control the urges of desire and anger, then that person is as good as an animal. So, whenever we are able to control our desire and anger, we are human. Whenever we are not able to control our desire and anger, we are not humans. So that is Bhagavan says. And then here, the key word here is sodum. Titiksha, tolerance. The tolerance is very important. The endurance to resist, the ability to resist the pulls of the mind, or the pulls of the desirable object, the impulses of kāma and krodha that arise in our mind. Remember, when we say tolerance, it doesn't mean suppression. It is about gaining, being a master over it through understanding. In the sense, what is endurance? Endurance is not able to fully reduce it to zero. I know it is coming, but I will hold myself. I will not exhibit it. I will not show it out. I will not let it manifest. So, the ability to not get carried away by them. Even if they arise, I will not get carried away by them. So only those people who can endure these impulses, Bhagavan says, can live happily. Sa sukhī. He alone is happy. Others are constantly agitated. They are constantly agitated by the push and pull of the desire and anger in their mind. They are always unhappy. That is because of kama-krodha. Now, why did Bhagavan say not to remove kama and krodha completely? Bhagavan is going to say, in a few verses, Bhagavan will say, give up kama and krodha completely. But here, he first asks us to resist it. Even if it comes, resist it. Endure it. Because this kama and krodha, it cannot be removed just like that. It has to be a two-step process. First, we have to reduce the impact of it. We will have to learn to hold back ourselves. Even when the mind rushes towards that object, we will have to hold ourselves. We will have to control our mind. We will have to discipline our mind. We will have to build some tolerance for this hatred and anger and attachment and desire. Then that is the first step. Then in the second step, in the later stage, we will be able to uproot the kama and krodha completely. But that uprooting kama and krodha, one needs to become a jnani. Only through knowledge, only through jnana nishtha, we will be able to uproot this kama and krodha completely. So we will see that in the 6th chapter. That kama krodha will leave only when jnana becomes steady. Until that time, what we have to do? We have to practice this to resist the urge, to control the rush. Vega nigraha. We have to do that. Why do we need to do that? Bhagavan is clear, Shastras are clear. Only if we are able to do that, you will be able to live with relative happiness. Otherwise, you will feel dejected, depressed person or angry person. Your mind will not be at peace. So, in the beginning stage, our sadhanas are mainly to control the effects of it. As in, that whenever the desire and anger try to manifest, control it, discipline it, channel it. That would be the first step. But to remove the root cause, the seed of the problem is actually our vasana. Something we have built within our psyche over millions of births. That's a deep-rooted tendency. That is not easy to remove. So that we will have to do it slowly. But as we come to Vedanta, as we take up Vedanta sadhana, we listen, Shravanam, we reflect, Mananam, and we do Nididhyasana in terms of assimilate or to keep repeating ourselves within our mind. We gain jnana. That knowledge can burn the seed itself. That will be able to eliminate the root cause. It will be able to destroy this kama and krodha completely. So initially, the effort is to handle the manifestation or the expression of kama and krodha. But later, we should remove the cause behind it itself. So that is Sloka number 23. Now, Sloka number 24, we'll go to Sloka number 24. 24, Bhagavan takes up a different topic. Sloka number 24. Yontas sukontara ramah tatantar jyotireva yah Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Brahma Bhutadi Yontas Sukontara Ramaha Tatantar Jyoti Revayah Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Brahma Bhutadi. So here between this 24, 25 and 26, Bhagavan talks about jnana phalam, the benefit of self-knowledge. After all, we have come to this Vedanta, we are doing this Shravanam, Mananam, we will have to do Nididhyasanam. And Bhagavan is asking for so many changes in our personality, so many things that we have to control, our sense organs, our mind, all these, so many disciplines we'll have to follow. Bhagavan is asking us to do Karma Yoga, Ishvara Arpana, Prasada Buddhi, acceptance. Whatever comes in life, accept it without any complaint, murmuring. Bhagavan talks about all these things. Why should we do all these things? After all, after putting all this effort, what is it that I am going to gain out of it? That will be the question that Bhagavan is answering here. See, jnana, getting this jnana is not that difficult. Jnana, to say, understand that you are this Brahman, you are not this Jiva, you are not this body-mind complex. That getting that jnana is not very difficult. If we are able to have a reasonable intellect and we are able to understand logic, we will be able to recognize that. But the jnana will not stay inside us unless we are qualified. Qualification is very difficult. And to get that qualification, the mind needs to be prepared. And only when the mind is prepared, that knowledge clearly dawns. Otherwise, it's a bookish knowledge. So once we get qualified and once we get this knowledge, Bhagavan here tells us how this person will live and what he gains from this knowledge. Remember, we had already seen the benefit of jnana before. We had seen it as Jīvanmukti, Videha-mukti. Bhagavan is going to repeat that only. But he is going to explain how a Jīvanmukti will be. Bhagavan describes a Jīvanmukta here. So we'll go into the Sloka. Yonta sukontara ramaha yaha antaha sukha yaha antaha sukha, whose happiness is within. Sukha is happiness, antaha is in inner or within. Yaha, whose happiness is within. Yaha antara sukha, anta sukha. See, the happiness is always within only. We always have this feeling, happiness is given by somebody else. Sorrow is given by somebody else. This is the biggest myth. And the reason for us to know or sort of think this way is because of Maya. No object in this world is capable of giving happiness or sorrow by itself. This happiness that we get is within ourselves. And this happiness that is within ourselves has been frequently highlighted by Bhagavan through this Bhagavad Gita. If you look at in the second chapter, Bhagavan in the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, Bhagavan said, Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha. So Bhagavan is repeating things here. What is moksha? Ultimately, what is moksha? Moksha is being happy within oneself, being happy. And unless we kind of reflect on this, we will not be able to understand the depth of this statement. Moksha being happy within oneself. Atmanyeva atmana tushtaha. Because we are not able to realize it, and because we think happiness has to be outside, and because we are not happy with ourselves, only because we are not happy with ourselves, we have so many possessions and relations. We think this person is going to give me happiness, and therefore we reach out to that person. Or we think by having this with me, I'll be happy. By having a car, by having a house, by having a wealth, by having good health. So, and therefore we always say, I'll be happy if I get this. I'll be happy if I get that. The fact that when you say, I'll be happy if I get this, I'll be happy if I get that, it itself shows that we are not happy with ourselves. And because we are not content within, we depend on possessions, we depend on relationships outside. And when things go wrong, we start blaming others. That is called as samsara. So here Bhagavan says, who is a jnani? Who is a Jīvanmukta? Antas sukha. So he is not in bahya sukha. He is not seeking happiness from external things. This is the lakshana of a Jīvanmukta. A Jīvanmukta will never seek happiness from the external world. And it is not that only a Jīvanmukta, it is true only for Jīvanmukta. A Jīvanmukta is wise person. He understands that there is no happiness outside, and therefore he is not seeking happiness. For us, we are still ignorant, and therefore we are still seeking happiness from the external world. But then we end up in sorrow. So Bhagavan is explaining, giving this jnana-nishta palam. And as a jnana-nishta palam, Bhagavan is giving some certain lakshanas, certain characteristics. Now those characteristics will become our lakshya. A Jīvanmukta's lakshana will become our lakshya, our goal. So as of now, if we are not able to be happy with ourselves, it's fine, because all the sadhana that we are doing is meant to take us there. The final goal is antasukha. Okay. So yaha antasukha. Then the second lakshana Bhagavan says, it's kind of similar notion. Bhagavan says, antara ramaha. Antaha aramaha. Antaha aramaha means he is his own playground. In Upanishads, it is called as Atma Kridaha Atma Ratihi. We had seen Atma Ratihi even before. So Bhagavan is rephrasing that Upanishad verse and says Antaha Aramaha. Antaha Kridaha means a jnani who is playing with self. We cannot ask what is he playing with. It's a poetic expression. What it means is he does not need anyone for enjoyment, anything for enjoyment or recreation. He does not need any of the OTT platforms or IPL or friends or people around him to be happy. For that matter, he does not need enjoyment or recreation at all. His joy is self-sustained. That is anta kritaḥ. That is slightly, Bhagavan gives a slightly different twist to it and says anta ārāmaḥ, antah ārāmaḥ. His recreation is within. See, we'll do a small vichara here. I mean, we would have done this before, but we'll do it again. See, there will always be an object which gives joy or happiness for every person. Every person will have an object which, or a person who will give them joy. So that is called a sukha hetu. There is an object or a person which is giving me the reason for my joy, for reason for my happiness. And as a child, if we have seen our childhood, as a child, our sukha hetu could have been a balloon or a toy. And as we grew, now it has become probably a house or a car or a relationship or children's marriage, or as we grow older, probably health. That becomes sukha hetu. So as we grow, as times change, the objects that can give us joy, they keep changing. So what was once a sukha hetu is no more a sukha hetu now. Today, a balloon or a toy will not give me happiness. So if we gift a balloon on a birthday to a 25-year-old, he will be angry and unhappy. So what we have to realize in our entire life is, some object in the world keeps manifesting itself as our sukha hetu. And what was once a sukha hetu is no more a sukha hetu now. But what has not changed in all these things is, there is always an object outside which is the reason for my joy. The object might have changed, but what has not changed is there is always an object. What I have been leaning on for happiness has changed, but what has not changed is that I am always leaning on something for my happiness. So here Bhagavan says, for a jnani, the cause for his happiness is self. What it means is, for a jnani, happiness does not need a reason. By nature we are happiness. By nature we are Ananda Swarupa. So what is moksha? Moksha is when I am able to be contented without any reason. How can I be contented without any reason? Only if I shift my identity. As long as I keep my identity to be this body and mind, I will be always looking for another body or another mind or another object in this world for happiness. So I have to shift my identity. Anyway, that is for a different sloka. But a jnani, he does not seek, he does not lean on anything for his happiness. A jnani is often described as unmattavat. Unmatta means madman, crazy person. Vat means like. Unmattavit means like a madman. The vat is very important. A jnani is not crazy. Jnani is not a madman. He is like a madman. Why is this comparison made? So that's why sometimes when we look at some of the sadhus, we are not sure whether they are actually jnanis or a madman. We will not be able to know the difference. They will be always smiling. They will not have any problem in being in dirt or in the midst of gold. They will have nothing. They will have no attachment. They They will not care about their clothes. So they will laugh for no reason. A madman also laughs for no reason. A jnani is also happy without any cause. The difference is that for jnani, the joy arises from the knowledge. The joy is the inner happiness, that self, Satchit Ananda. Whereas for the madman, it comes from delusion, it comes from confusion. That's a different thing. A jnani's joy is not dependent, it is completely independent. And it is self-born, it is born out of self. It doesn't come from outside. And a jnani's joy is without reason. No reason he will be happy. His recreation is within, anta ārāmaḥ. He alone is responsible for his joy. His joy is self-born, his joy is independent, his joy is reasonless. So why is Bhagavan saying this? All these lakshana, because all this will have to be our lakshya, our goal. And when is this possible? As I said, only when we stop identifying ourselves with the roles we play. I take myself to be a husband or a wife or a father or a mother or a son or a daughter or an employee or a boss or a neighbor or a friend. As long as we see ourselves as the roles, what happens? The joy and sorrows of the roles, they get attributed to us by the self. As the self, I am actually taintless, sorrowless being. But the role that I have picked up is giving me sorrow. And now what? Instead of tagging that to the role, I am tagging it to the self. So as long as we see ourselves with the roles, joy and sorrow, both, they get attributed to the self. But when we recognize our true nature to be Atman, then we can realize the correct meaning of, we'll be able to even appreciate anta sukhā, anta ārāmaḥ, it becomes very clear. Because for a jnani, it's very evident for the jnani that he is Ananda Swarupa. So, yaha anta sukha, antaha ārāmaḥ. Then Bhagavan continues, tatha cha antarjyotihi. Jyotihi, here jyotihi means knowledge. Knowledge means consciousness. We can say Chaitanya. Antarjyotihi means whose light is within. This is the dictionary meaning. Antarjyotihi means inner light. But if you look at the bhava artha, this is the literal meaning. But if you look at the intent, it is deeper. And that's why antarjyotihi, if somebody reads it as it is, then it's you are the inner light. So they will start looking for a light or a flame, or when they are looking for meditation, they will look for flame, some blue light and all those things. These kind of misunderstandings happen if we do not read or understand this through the sampradaya. So Shankara Bhashya and other sampradaya guru commentaries, they talk about antarjyoti. Antarjyoti, they say it points to one who has completely withdrawn from external dependencies. Who has completely withdrawn from external dependencies. The Upanishads, they describe this as avrita chakshuhu. Avrita chakshuhu means one who has turned his vision inward. In other words, he is no longer seeking fulfillment from the external world. it means that the jnani has withdrawn himself from external things. One avrita chakshu means whose eyes are turned inward. In what it means, he has no desire for external objects. He has no desire for external objects. In contrast, if we look at us now, we are constantly interested in what's happening around us, what's happening in others' lives, what are they doing in today, what did they do yesterday, what will be they do tomorrow. We are interested in gossip, we are interested in news, we constantly want to compare. And there is always this strange joy in knowing something about someone. More than, we are not interested to know what is in our mind, but we take enough pains to know what is happening in their house, in their families, sometimes even in their mind. And not only we are interested to knowing them, we love to gossip about them. We love to actually share that information with others also. We want to gossip, we want to understand, we want to think about what they are doing, what they are saying. We want to know why they are doing. What does this show? It basically shows that our mind is still extroverted. It is always turned outward. And the problem is, the mind, it seeks stimulation and satisfaction from the outside world. We are convinced that our happiness or satisfaction can be only given by the outside world. The jnani, on the other hand, he has withdrawn that curiosity. There is no curiosity for him. There is no dependency for him. All his attention or joy are centered within himself. So again, what is the takeaway for us? How do we understand this sloka? Is only when we develop a disinterest in knowing or talking about others, what they are doing now, why they are doing now, how they are doing it now. In short, in gossip, only if we show some disinterest in that, only if we are able to develop that disinterest in us. For that matter, even unnecessary discussions in politics also. Only if we are able to do that, we would have said we have attained a certain level of mental maturity. For a jnani, this comes natural. He has no concerns for external things. That is called as antarjyotihi. His vision is fully turned inward. His intellect, his thought, his intention, all are centered on the self. And he is constantly knowing and abiding in that knowledge. What is that knowledge? I am all pervading. I don't have any limitation. I am immortal. He does not have any concern or attraction towards the external world. How do we get it? These changes happen slowly. It will happen slowly when we walk this path of Vedanta, when we continue to listen to these classes over a period of time. These changes will slowly happen. As long as we continue to follow Karma Yoga and we do Vedanta Shravana Manana Didhyasana, slowly we will be able to see the change. We will see more and more that we do not talk much about others. We don't take much interest in gossip. We don't want to hear about others' stories. We are not interested in what they are doing in their lives. For a jnani, such transformations have already taken place. And that is called as antarjyotihi. See, the problem is when we say jnani, there is this feeling that when we say yogi, then that person must have a long beard, he will have to look lean, he cannot be fat, and he will be able to perform some miracles. And therefore, when a person appears simple, ordinary, we do not want to believe that he is a jnani. We hesitate. But the truth is, the most difficult thing in the world is to remain simple. Simplicity is the greatest achievement. Being simple and acting only, doing actions, performing actions only when it is required, and performing actions that are not driven by raga dveṣa. That is true mastery. We think, and for a jnani, what is achievement? There is nothing to achieve in this world. Once someone asked a jnani, what have you achieved? He replied, I eat when I am hungry and I sleep when I am sleepy. Actually, this is an answer from Zen Buddhism. What is the great achievement in that? I eat when I am hungry and I sleep when I am sleepy. There is a deep truth in it, because we do not eat when we are hungry. When the food is tempting, our quantity of food depends on the taste of the food and our likes and dislikes. And the sleep, we sleep when we are bored sometimes. We live by impulse. Our life runs that way. What we eat, it does not depend on how much of hunger we got. It depends on what is on the plate at that moment. So, who is a yogi? Bhagavan says, Yaha anta sukha anta aramaha antar jyotihi. The one that is described in the first line. A yogi or a jnani need not be one who can perform miracles. And similarly, just because somebody can perform miracles does not mean they are yogis or jnanis also. In fact, as we go through this spiritual path, as we do meditation, in the next chapter we're going to talk about meditation. And if we are continuously doing meditation over a period of time, high possibility that if we do it properly, we will be able to get some powers. But Bhagavan says those are obstacles for moksha, pratibandhakas for moksha. So we should not be focusing on those miracles and things. So Bhagavan says yogi. Yogi means, what is yogi? Yuktaḥ iti yogi. The one who is united. United with what? United or established in jnana. Sa yogi, Bhagavan says in the second line. Sa yogi. He is a yogi. One who is in the first line. One who has been described in the first line. Sa Brahma Nirvanam. Brahma Nirvanam, will come to that later. Then Brahma Bhuto Digacchati. Brahma Bhutaha. Brahma Bhutaha means is a Jīvanmukti. He has realized himself to be a Brahma Swarupa. He is a Purna. He is completely contented. So once a person understands that he is Brahma Swarupa, what is it? He is completely contented because he is all pervading. There is nothing there. He is Purna. Even when he is living, he feels complete contentment, brimming bliss. He is Purna. See, we should keep remembering this benefit of Vedanta, of this Shastra, is moksha. Moksha is what? Moksha is complete contentment. Moksha is not about reaching a place, not Vaikuntham, not Shivalokam. It is not about attaining something after death, that I become a small dot in Mahavishnu's padam or something. But it is about living in peace and contentment even when we are alive. So the Shastras describe the same state in different words. Antar sukhaḥ, antar ārāmaḥ, antar jyotihi. It all points to what? Inner completeness. And then that is Brahmabhutaḥ, Brahman. Then we'll come back to this Brahma Nirvāṇam. Bhagavan denotes Videha-mukti as by the word Brahma Nirvāṇam. So Brahma Nirvāṇam, you have to add after the fall of the body, what happens? Brahma Nirvāṇam, one with Brahman. Brahma Swarupa Praptihi. The Nirvana, the word is also used in Buddhist philosophy. In Vedanta also we use. It means moksha. Moksha we say liberation, freedom, mukti, nirvanam, kaivalyam, all refers to moksha. So the body will continue to exist until the prarabdha exhausts, but once this body dies, this stula sharira, they merge with stula prapancha. The sukshma sharira, it merges with sukshma prapancha. The atma, it remains. The atma, there is no more rebirth. The atma always is. So Brahma Nirvāṇam adhigacchati means he attains Brahma Nirvāṇam. So here Brahma Bhuta adhigacchati, Brahma Nirvāṇam adhigacchati, it means both Jīvanmukta as well as Videha-mukta. So this sloka, Bhagavan talks about Jīvanmukti, Videha-mukti, and Jīvanmukti Lakshana also Bhagavan has given Antar sukhaḥ, antar ārāmaḥ, antar jyotihi. This is the meaning of this sloka. Bhagavan will continue the same idea in the next two slokas also. We will see that in the next class. Any questions or comments? Okay. If not, we'll see again in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.